We're here with an Arabia best of 3. This is the 1300 max bracket. And we have Elvaenor here with the Franks, my favorite civ, lovely civilization, one of the best cavalry civ and boom civs in the game. They harvest berries 15% faster in the feudal age, from the very start. And the Franks, faster picking up berries, starting in the Dark Age, not the feudal age. And the farming upgrades kicking in instantly upon reaching the next stage, which is extremely useful, not needing to spend food and wood, or even remembering to clicking those upgrades, because once you see the first farm in the feudal age, it will immediately have horse color, saying the castle age for heavy plow. Look at this beautiful map for Franks here, aside from the gold spots, of course. All 3 golds forward for Elvaenor here. Still, if you go for a bit of an extensive wall outside of here, it should be safe from any ranged forward by Vikings. You could use this as a natural barrier for your wall to the sides. And on this side, you'd wall out between the woodlands as well. And fortunately, you should have a nice and walled base if that's your desire come the later game. But Franks should be playing on the aggressive side here as well to punish the Vikings boom. You don't want to just wall off and past castle. That's risky against the Vikings getting wheelbarrow and handcart instantly upon the next stage, with also very strong economic bonus. So I expect Elvaenor to go into the scouts here. The 3 on wood certainly suggests that. Now for the other side, Master Sergeant with the Vikings will likely go into an infantry opening here, like the men-at-arms, into archers. The Vikings getting an HP hit points boost for their infantry line starting in the feudal age. Will have a nice and strong men-at-arms opening that's a bit tougher to fight back than the generic ones. That should pose trouble for the Franks as well. Even if you have a smooth scouts build and can get 3 or 4 scouts out, that extra hit points could be the difference between scouts or men-at-arms winning an equal HP fight. Scout forward to snag some sheep here. Nasty, nasty, but laming is allowed in this tournament. You can steal sheep, you can steal boars, you could wall in golds if you want to invest into that kind of stupid forward behavior. The only thing you're not allowed to do is place your own palisade to steal away or remove the straggler trees around the enemy town center. Almost looks like Master Sergeant looking for boars to steal as well, but it's too late for that. Elvaenor with 18 seconds of idle TC time, Master Sergeant with 8, so a bit of a difference there, like half of a villager ahead for Master Sergeant here in the production. It looks like a 22 pop man-at-arms build for the Vikings here, places the barracks rather forward here to sort of provide a piece of wall here for this very, very open front side. Fuel age on the way for both players, roughly 20 seconds apart. And let's see here, barracks going up, well in time for Elvaenor here. Idle eco time roughly similar, the idle TC time actually quite similar as well. So with 21 pop against 22 pop here, it's a little bit peculiar that there's that difference in seconds here. You'd think that 1 second wouldn't matter as much for 21 and 22 pop here. Unless one of them had lost the scout, but that's not the case either. Elvaenor reaching the fuel age here, the stables on the way up here, and queuing builders to have a little bit more idle TC time. Meanwhile, Master Sergeant's scout goes down here to Elvaenor's first and only spearman here. I guess that spearman is added to accompany the scouts moving forward to contest enemy spearmen. Master Sergeant will have men-at-arms soon enough though, and could use those defensively to deal with that spearman should need be. Three men-at-arms on a spear, that's what you usually do with men-at-arms when you're up against scout civilizations. You mix in a spear because you expect the Franks to go scouts. The scouts, however, have been able to reach the enemy base here, so that's a counterattack while Master Sergeant is entering with the men-at-arms on Elvaenor's side here. Might get a villager kill here, but that's some good evacuation by Elvaenor here, bringing the villagers back to the town center. Hopefully gonna get some quick walls up on the woodland here as well to keep those men-at-arms out. This one is in danger though, and one spearman is not enough to fend this off. Good on garrison there to send the villagers back to work on food. That's going to bring in more food more consistently again. But spearmen certainly can't contest this on their own, and Elvaenor actually needs to bring the scouts back to get rid of this men-at-arms threat. Oh, running into the TC here. A bit of a misplay from Master Sergeant. Here goes most of the offensive. I think Elvaenor might even have focused fire the spearmen intentionally there as well. 3 scouts now for 5 scouts to engage. And the men-at-arms will go down. Meanwhile, however, Master Sergeant might have time to close this last gap here. But what if Elvaenor finds this opening in the back of his base though? Scouts are back in, going to take the gold now. Good choice of Elvaenor to contest the gold here. Might get a few villager pickoffs, that's never an disaster for Vikings, honestly, because they have such a great eco to back what they're going for. With Master Sergeant very heavily on wood now. He's off gold. His two other golds are part of his wall or outside his wall. So this is his only go-to gold, and he really needs to secure that for further security. He has some stray farms here. Didn't fill up around this TC, so that's a bit peculiar to see 3 farms around the TC like that. But he was probably relying on being full walled by now. Oh, Elvaenor has to watch. Their scouts here now might actually get trapped here. Uh-oh. Okay. That was just a lag, not a crash. Hopefully. Good value here from the forward scouts. 3 eco KD against Vikings here now. Elvaenor going to the Castle Age with the Franks here with a 3-villager lead after killing 3 villagers of Vikings. And looking at Master Sergeant's eco setup here and the Feudal Age army investment, he's going to be in a pickle here once Franks reach that Castle Age and can pump out some knights to deal with this Feudal Age offensive. Castle Age knights should be able to contest even spearmen with a little bit of extra hit points here like the Vikings do have on their infantry. Oh no, Master Sergeant has going for the gold of Elvaenor now. Only gold for Elvaenor inside of the base, so this could have been preempted level tower. It's a sucker for Franks now to be taken off gold, but still there's 234 gold to benefit from Knight's production in the Castle Age here. It's only 48 seconds away, and some measures need to be taken here, though. That tower is not optimal at all. That barely even ranges these archers. And I don't think you can force up a tower in this archer's fire, can you? Yeah, going to mean some villagers lost, so Master Sergeant will even out the villager counts here. However, Master Sergeant is not on the way to the Castle Age either. So with Elvaenor just now reaching the Castle Age, that should be a huge power spike to take advantage of. Sorry about the lag in Capture Age now, I don't know what's causing it. But hopefully it's tolerable. Castlage on the way for the Vikings player as well. Extremely solid farm eco behind this. Look at this beautiful square around the mill here. It's 21 farms total, almost indicative of a Knight's style farming eco here for Master Sergeant, but it's certainly going to make and transition into the next stage easier as well, whenever that might be. Not sure whether these have expired long ago or it's just a spec bug, but they seem to be expired. Elvaenor with 5 knights now, but not really engaging. Can't, of course, find an easy point of entry, but the clock is ticking for dealing some serious damages. Well, there's the Castle Age for the Master Sergeant, and feel like Elvaenor either needs to commit to the boom here. There's a second TC on the main gold, beautiful. And a market going up seemingly in the middle of nowhere here. But a forward siege workshop could have been in order, but given the cast age kicking in for Master Sergeant now, it's just as well to have it defensively here as well. That's a good position for a defensive siege workshop. The crossbows, unless they sneak all the way around here, they will need to pass through this area somehow. Nice little clean up there from Master Sergeant. Mixes in pikes with the crossbows now. Always good against Franks. Elvaenor will need to consider mixing in some scorpions now with knights for continued damage potential. Or try to get some juicy Mangonel shots in, of course. Mangonels and scorpions here, no less. Frank's economy at work here, guys. Vikings have a great working behind this as well, but only 2 ranges and not currently producing for Master Sergeant. You want to keep producing army and villagers at all times until you're at 200 pop. Of course, you need a good eco balance behind it, and with 16 on gold, 13 on food, Elvaenor could benefit from a bit more on food to keep the TCs running as well, but seems to be okay here. Stables not currently producing either, so lacking a little bit of food here to keep both TCs and stables working. But I love the defensive siege investment here. Master Sergeant shouldn't know about this just yet. There goes a knight to the pikeman, but crossbows now on the move as another TC goes up on the stone. Guess what Elvaenor has in plans for the long run here? That has to be in defensive castles for sure. Nice double layer of walls here for Elvaenor. Here comes the Mangonel. Could get a good shot uphill here. Takes some of the pikes out. That's good as well. Then the knights could comfortably engage here. The knights, however, are doing great raids on the other side here of Master Sergeant. And getting some pickoffs, of course. Eco KD 6-3 here. And yeah, more kills to come. And Vikings player is staying 2 town centers here. Where's the other one? It's all the way over here, so that's quite exposed. That's not inside of his walls at all, but villagers going in left and right here. That's the perks of having a mobile civilizations, because Master Sergeant can't just pull his armies back just like that. He needs to pull them back now, and that takes forever for these slow dudes to walk back. He's actually going to send only the crossbows by the look of it. No, he's doing both. But look at the trade for Elvaenor. It's 11-3 in Eco KD here, and more coming. Good value from these forward knights here. Elvaenor producing out of both ranges now. Also, the Siege Workshop has something in the queue here. Another defensive Mangonel. So playing it safe here, and another TC to go up on the secondary gold there as well. Oh, goodbye, scouts. Mangonel looking for a juicy shot again. A monster going up. That has to be the second building for Imperial H here for Elvaenor. Let's see. Get a hit. Hit. Did it shot? No. There it goes. Knight's numbers increasing a bit though. Still 2 defensive Mangonels, some Scorpions here. The Monastery did get up. Elvaenor at 77 villagers now. 4 TCs producing. Going to take a good villager lead over Master Sergeant here. It's 4 TCs to 2, so even with the strong Vikings economy, Master Sergeant can't contest this at this point. He will find a point of entry here though, so he could get some nice counter crossbow raids in here. Unless Elvaenor brings the defensive Mangonels over. Or some... Oh, just passing apparently. Or gets a much needed defensive castle up on this side. Alright, good reaction. That's actually almost looked like the town bell for a moment. Ballistics not quite in for Master Sergeant yet. It's still 10 seconds away. With ballistics, these more villagers would go down here. Here comes the defensive Mangonel to move over. And these guys maybe to drop a castle now? Oh, that's far out. But it's also... I mean, why not here though? Closer to the base. I mean, you want presence here for the long run, but I'd even argue that the first castle could go here near the gold for further resource security. Ah! This is a slaughter of builders. I mean, Master Sergeant, he could snipe this foundation now. A good thing Elvaenor kills that castle in time, deletes it, and has knights raiding forward again. Knowingly aware of that Master Sergeant is here with crossbows, he can't just run back and defensive Mangonels. 3 of them now will clean up this forward, no problem. If Master Sergeant loses all of his army now, he loses all momentum. And Elvaenor with the forward castle as well. This player is everywhere, come on. Just get that castle up, then you can pull back there and snipe some pikemen with the castle fire. Lots of stone here playing the pranks as could be here with forward and defensive castles to take some much needed map control. This one failed, but another one could go up somewhere else. Placing the defensive Mangonels on this side now, the more exposed side for enemy RB entrance. And meanwhile, the knights are just running away from the pikes here. They should be able to catch up. No, 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 no! What is this? Yeah, it's not the worst engagement ever. Now pull back towards the completed forward castle. And Master Sergeant is in full defensive mode. But look at these throwing axemen in the making here. Perfect counter to pikemen. So with a knights and throwing axemen's combo here, that's going to be tough for Vikings to handle. So 24 military to 7 now. Elvaenor has done a great job at cleaning up enemy army forwards here. Here comes the forward siege workshop as well. Just taking some of these in the middle of nowhere desert farmers here to build that forward siege workshop. That should extend nicely to hit the Vikings here. I'd like to see that Imperial Age click soon though, and further army production as well for Elvaenor, who is now, by the way, on 5 TCs, has these goals secured as well. Master Sergeant, not much of a boomer here. He's getting Thumbring and Longswordsmen. I'm not sure about Longswordsmen, how that applies here. It's not really going to serve any good purpose here. Supplies for Longswordsmen's investments as well. That's really not the way to go against Franks. The Knights will snipe the Longswordsmen, no problem, and Throwing Axemen will for sure do so as well. Imperial Age on the way now for Elvaenor. Master Sergeant as well on the way to the Imperial Age, but he has far less military to benefit from that next age up. Defensive castle goes up for Master Sergeant, but being slightly behind to the Imperial Age, that gives Elvaenor the head start to the Treb Wars. Also, having the Franks cheaper castles and lots of stone in the bank, Elvaenor could drop a castle over here with army to support it, or just drop more castles forward to be able to outproduce the Vikings player in terms of trebs, but with the Imperial Age kicking in first here and Elvaenor having this kind of momentum, it should be the purple player's game no matter what here. There's the Imperial Age. We have lots of knights to benefit from. Oh, finally chain barding armor. That's something you want earlier against crossbow sibs. But Imperial Age is in. Cavalier queued right away. Elvaenor with a fantastic economy here to benefit from the Imperial Age could drop more stables by now and produce consistently, but getting husbandry as well, that's pretty late. So Elvaenor is a little bit late to the upgrades here, but here comes more stables. Could also easily go into chivalry from one of the castles here once they finish. Some nice map positioning here, taking map control. You can tell that Elvaenor is used to playing closed maps and the map control that involves, but because it's being done the same way here with buildings presence and army movement. Moving away the knights here could get some beautiful raids in on this side if Elvaenor has this scouted. That could be 20 or 30 dead villagers there. First treb is out, Master Sergeant queuing 3 trebs as well, but just look at the military numbers. Master Sergeant still at 33 here, is committing to crossbows and pikes. Crossbows, good against throwing axemen, but pikes will be shredded. Uh-oh, but all these 4 close, so this could be a 3 or 4 mangonels in one shot here for Master Sergeant. He goes for the throwing axeman though, and the throwing axeman, if they get close enough to mangonel, they would snipe it easily. Oh, this is a strong push from Elvaenor, and look at the raids in the north side as well. Crossbows hitting here doesn't matter. Elvaenor has a 30 villagers lead and is sniping so many more over here. 69, 67, 66. Master Sergeant suffering heavily to the push here. He has Arbalest now. That's not going to help out in the end here, unfortunately. The defensive castle goes down. Master Sergeant is 27 stone shy of another one, and Elvaenor could just keep dropping them to take out the gold over here, stop the woodline over here. Here, could finish this off easily now by the looks of it. Just needs to deal with the ball of Arbalists here, and that's a job for the Cavaliers. 7 stables consistently producing, and they are producing not light cab, but Cavalier here. And Castle Age pikemen, Viking pikemen, no problem. Don't run away, just contest them. Maybe waiting for a bit more numbers here, but this is over for Master Sergeant. There is no way to stop this Frank's death ball. GG is called. 1-0 for Elvaenor here. Franks need more nerf. I don't agree. Frank's best civ. Don't touch him. So let's browse through the stats here, shall we? Elvaenor versus Master Sergeant. It is 113 to 17. Elvaenor very late to that +2 defense for the Knights and Husbandry though. With that speed and armor, many of the fights could have been different in many ways. Easier to run away from pikes, easier to withstand arrow fire from the Vikings archers line units. Stronger economy, of course. Solid villager high here by a good 30 villagers. 5 TCs total for Elvaenor to secure the most core resources and some intelligent walling behind the palisades as well to keep the crossbows out. Significantly faster Castle Age, not being used to its full potential, but some good raids to be sent in there for Elvaenor after all. Even relics, 3 relics, this must be an arena clown at work here. And Sea Master Sergeant with some army momentum here, but losing some to defensive mangonels and knights and whatnot here, and then upon clicking to the Imperial Age doesn't really have anything to benefit from it. Pikes, not a long-term solution for Vikings. Even with that unique technology, they are still just pikemen with a little bit of extra damage against cavalry, so no halberdiers for Vikings. Hurts a lot in the late game against Franks. So let me bring up game 2 here. Seemed not too uneven to begin with here. Next game, Atacama. So let's see what Atacama brings us today. We'll have Elvaenor versus Master Sergeant again in this best of 3. And the matchup is a classic cavalry, even cav archer matchup here with Magyars versus Huns. I immediately favor Magyars here, simply because men-at-arms towers can be so strong on this map. You could, at some point, you need to venture into the middle here for wood access, and with early towers and men-at-arms, you could easily deny wood, whether it be here or near the home base, because see the woodlands, they're very far from the TC, so you don't have safe wood even with lumber camps close to the TC area. You would tower behind and just force the enemy into building another lumber camp somewhere else, and you could just keep pushing them off wood while you yourself have wood access and can extend the economy at home. That said, though, the more classic opening for both these civs is the scouts, maybe even men-at-arms exclusively for Magyars into archers, which could be strong as well. See Master Sergeant going for the middle wood right away. That's a bit of a long walking distance for the villager to collect the wood. You might, in many cases, even though these woodlands are small, benefit from placing the first lumber camps closer to your base. You see Elvaenor is doing just that, woodland on the hill here with the lumber camp to move into the middle at a later stage. So a couple of houses going up here, hunting the boars for the same players. A little bit more idle TC time for Elvaenor here in the middle of this. But Master Sergeant, also if the Huns never needs to worry about getting housed, right? So as long as he has the food, he could comfortably keep producing villagers, keep everything going. 4 builders on wood, that makes sense with hunts as well, because you start with 100 less wood, you want to commit a little bit more to wood earlier on to compensate for that, just to make sure you can afford the barracks and stables later on. You save wood not needing to build houses, but for the drop-off points as well, like the mill especially, you need 100 wood for that as well. After placing the first lumber camp, you're at 0 wood, right? So if you want to boost the wood income a little bit to get the mill up a bit sooner, you could task 4 to wood instead of the regular 3 for scouts build orders. That is more usual. Elvaenor with 3 on wood, those indicative of the scouts play here with the Magyars. We saw some good raiding for Elvaenor with the Franks the previous game, so that's something to be expecting this game as well, maybe, given the outcome of the previous one. Meanwhile, Master Sergeant is placing 2 Dark Age farms here. I don't love that. You could try pushing in some deer instead if you found them, or yeah, you don't really need them at this stage. It's certainly going to fortify or have your scouts opening be a bit stronger, but these will also deplete sooner, not having horse collar, so... But given the wood savings for the Huns, I guess it's justified. Some preemptive walls on the woodline here as well, but that does not stop any tower fire if Elvaenor chooses to go, for example, scouts and towers and put the tower up just here. That could render this whole woodline useless. Fuel Age on the way for both players here. 21 pop for both of them, and Elvaenor with significantly higher idle TC time will be lagging behind to the Fuel Age by almost half a minute here. That's almost one builder's worth of time actually, so must have had some small issues here getting enough food to click up. I see 4 on berries, that's quite common, and boars being taken, now the last few sheep, so maybe a little bit of timing issue there, just not dropping off in time. So that idle TC time hurts a little bit against hunts that have such an easy time massing units. But keep in mind that the Magyars get the attack upgrade instantly as well. So if you pump out a Spearman as Magyars, it will kill the Huns scouts more easily. And Spearman on Spearman will also be better fights overall. So I still favor Magyars here in the early Feudal Age. The scouts of Magyars are also cheaper. That said, though, Hunt's stables work 20% faster, so Master Sergeant certainly has an easier time bringing those scouts out once the Feudal Age kicks in and the stable goes up here. Stables and barracks forming kind of a wall here, production buildings forward, but then again the most important resource on this map is here in the middle, so you want your defenses at the ready. Elvaenor with some idle TC time again, but salvages the situation there. It's now one full villager behind in terms of idle TC here. Ooh, wall in the middle here. I like that for Master Sergeant. We have 2 scouts versus 2 scouts. Elvaenor's scout is weakened here, but another one joins the party here. 3 scouts for Master Sergeant. Elvaenor already has 3 spears out as well. Good pick off there, 2 scouts left for Master Sergeant here. Elvaenor could actually bring a couple of these spearmen forward out now without any worries. Master Sergeant will have to do the quick walls of a lifetime on the woodland here if he wants to save those, but Elvaenor with good map sense here goes for the food source instead, so Master Sergeant can't easily keep up the production of the much needed spearmen and scouts here. 4 spears, 4 scouts for Elvaenor should be completely safe at home with the spearman investment and taking Master Sergeant off some very much needed food economy here. Another good engagement. You could contest this spear with the +1 Magyar scouts, no problem. Just try and keep the weak one away from being sniped by the spearman, or alternatively sacrifice it. I like the army production of Elvaenor here, keeps making spearmen and scouts, knowing that this map is very open, tough to complete the wall. These woodlands, I mean, yes, there are walls here, but you could also just justify going to stone here and keep going with your Feudal Age aggression and fortify that with a couple of towers on the woodlands here to take Master Sergeant completely off wood. I don't like the banging away at the gate here. You should just use the mobility to again take Master Sergeant up food and everything here and just obstruct the actual unit's production here. Maybe the farm eco by now is too strong to stop, to be enough to take the berries off here to stop production, but still you could get villager snipes. Elvaenor with 2 in the eco KD here now. Not able to contest the woodland though. This is still wide open, so there's still some potential for the scouts here on this side. But might have been spotted now. This is going to call for some quick reaction from Master Sergeant here. That 1 spear is not a threat here. There are some movement over here, those scouts and spears, but there are those +1 attack spears from the Magyars player as well. Ooh. Nice. Debating away the spearman with the scouts there and allowing Master Sergeant's own spearman to attack here. I like that. That is a good engagement right there. Sending in the villager to deal with the last spear here. 3 spearmen to take out 1 there. Then you're free to chase the scouts. Meanwhile, the forward scouts are getting value on the woodland here. More villager kills. 7-0 KD for Elvaenor here on the villagers. Let's actually have a look at the ranks of these players. Master Sergeant 1193, Elvaenor 1242. Elvaenor more accustomed to playing closed maps though, but giving a good showing on these open maps as well for sure. There goes the final scouts though, only 1 scout left now, but still 6 spears. Master Sergeant trying for some counterattack here now, will contest the gold income here, but I think fighting this off with Builder is perfectly fine for Elvaenor. Will deal with that last remaining scout of Master Sergeant as well. And even with that, what I would deem more army investment of Elvaenor here, the KD is off the charts compared to the opponent here. 19 to 8, 7 villagers down. Big eco lead should be anyway for Elvaenor. A little bit more idle TC time behind this, but still with wheelbarrow and 1 villager ahead, still a significant eco lead here. Lacking double attacks and horse color though, that is hurtful because it means that Elvaenor will have to spend lots of wood to reseed all of these farms, much sooner than is the case for Master Sergeant on his side. Will we see the castle age soon? I think so, from Elvaenor. Floating lots of wood here, and food and gold. Might be missing the second building, actually. Missing the blacksmith here to go up. That's the classic. No, there's the blacksmith. Click that castle age already. There we go. So that's going to be a decent head start for Elvaenor. The castle age could drop both the second stable and TC here in the next stage, no problem. Master Sergeant with a solid food and gold eco, all things considered as well. They haven't really been consisting each other's woodlines nearly enough here. Scouts into archers comes to mind here, or simply some forward towers to permanently deny these woodlines. Elvaenor has been getting lots of builder kills, but at the cost of idle TC at home. If you had invested into taking the enemy off these woodlands as well, Master Sergeant would be GG here, because Master Sergeant wouldn't have wood for all these farms and army production. But now, 1 minute lead to the cast stage for Elvaenor here. Still a good spot to be in for the Magyars player. Spear poking away the last scout of Master Sergeant as well. Second stables are... Oh, it's not going to be 2 stables here for Elvaenor. It's going to be the triple rage cav archers from Magyars. Exciting. 9 on gold. You've been needing more on gold for this. Here comes the TC on that gold. Gold situation seems nice. Might need a little bit more wood as well to make sure the constant production can be going here. But triple range cav archers, no joke here against the hunts. Going for roughly the same approach. 2 ranges for hunts, but in hunts defense the cav archers are cheaper. But with 2 ranges against 3, Master Sergeant is going to fall behind in numbers here, unfortunately. He's also later to the cast stage, which again affects the numbers. 3 cav archers out for Elvaenor already, running straight for the woodline here. Good choice. A ranged mounted cavalry approach here to take Master Sergeant completely off wood. Master Sergeant 9 on wood here, but they will be contested probably on both wood lines here. And that means no more cav archers. He does have quite a few in the queue here in Master Sergeant's defense, but look at these ranges here producing for Elvaenor as well. Consistent cavalry archers out of all 3, not anymore, but still with 9 cavalry archers now against Master Sergeant's only 2 and 2 ranges producing. And Master Sergeant's stables work faster, but that does not apply to the ranges. So in this case, Elvaenor should be taking some serious map presence here, and most importantly, deny wood here. Where has Master Sergeant gone for wood access now? He has 15 on wood somewhere. He's long distance lumberjacking around the TC. That's even more exposed than the current wood lines. This one is not being contested though, so it's a bit of a way off whether we go here or there. Nice pickups here, Cavachers with Bodkin arrows, so they have that range that you very much need. Ballistics would be quite useful as well, so as would be Tumbling Bee, but with this consistent production with triple ranges behind here, Elvaenor has some great momentum here. Killing more villagers, fortifying that villager lead, now 10 villagers lead, as Master Sergeant tries to place a town center with 1 villager in the middle of here. And actually, the placement of this villager is quite good. The coward just can't reach that one. But still, he's going to struggle a lot for wood now. 17 on wood. He's sending all of them in here to build this TC, I think. So Elvaenor should just task these knights to break to the palisades, maybe, and try to find a entry point here. Counter raids from Master Sergeant here. Pikemen won't contribute much here. But okay, range is not producing again for Elvaenor here. The numbers are more convincing for Elvaenor overall though, so is the economy. Could place another stable here as well if that hasn't been done already and gone into mass knights here. I think I saw food going into knights here. Where did all that gold go? It goes into more cavalry archers. 2 TCs as well, goes for both players. This TC didn't get denied after all. Love to see some siege addition over here or something, or a TC here too. TC War or something like that. Probably not the best call. But Elvaenor has the army numbers here. 29 to 19 is going to take this one for sure. As a good fight here. Game hasn't been decided, of course. We don't know who wins this, but Elvaenor seems to have some serious momentum here. Nice pickoffs again. Horrible fight from Master Sergeant. He can't comfortably take this. Is only with +1 defense for the knight as well, but heavily outnumbered here. 28 to 14. Another TC on the woodline here, so taking some map control in the middle, arguably, but that's just another sign for Elvaenor to go even more heavily into knights or into siege push here, make use of the wood and gold income somewhere else. Elvaenor is floating lots of food and gold here now for no apparent reason. This could go into almost 10 knights, I would say. The cavalry play is on point, so getting more and more villager pickups here. 10 to 2 KD here. And making life very awkward for the Huns player here, who can't really quick wall out this aggression even if he wanted to either. Spearrun, not gonna work, trust me. That's a easy hit and run for the Cavachers here. There comes the University from Master Sergeant, still has economy to make those Cavachers, but is up gold. This gold is not secured. This one is right next to the TC, so that's arguably secured. Ballistics now on the way. A peculiar investment given the current army numbers here between the 2 players. Alright, Elvaenor doesn't want Master Sergeant to benefit from having this gold mine here. Problem here is Master Sergeant is taking gold over here. That should be denied. You could also split up your cavalry archer numbers. Just keep 1 or 2 here near the gold to make sure that's not being taken. And then you try to snipe more villagers. Use the mobility to take Master Sergeant off wood and gold as much as possible. Defensive tower and watchtower won't be doing much here. That could be easily denied by these cavalry archers as well. More villagers gonna go down for Master Sergeant here, who is now falling behind almost 20 villagers here, a situation you never want to find yourself in. Elvaenor with, yeah, enough food and gold to go to the Imperial Age now. University is up, Siege Workshop is making some thing interesting here in Mangonel. And that could be the end of this TC on the woodline as well. Although Master Sergeant could fight this with villagers, and he's going to do exactly that. No, he's not. And Mangonel suicide. Ma'am. This really wants this tower up on the stone, and that tower is an investment in stone of his own here from Master Sergeant. Dollar sign is called. Probably meant to call the GG, and rightfully so, being behind by 20 military here. Elvaenor well on the way to the Imperial Age, and shouldn't be able to catch up here easily. Why are you so fast when you only play arena? Good question. You'd very seldom see cav archers played on arena so as well, but Elvaenor confirms he's been playing this game for a good while, and that's something that could be transitioned to other maps as well, of course. So, let's quit Capture Age and go to the stats for this game here. This will be the last cast of this session, actually. I'm not feeling quite up to shape today. I've been sneezing a little bit and runny nose, so I'll catch up with you tomorrow instead, I think. So, but let's have a look at the stats before ending this one. 71 to 20 KD, that's quite a few more villagers sniped for Elvaenor than the other way around, and exclusively taking great fights, running around the map with those mass cav archers. Food and gold, lots of that. Looked like a knight's play for a long while there, but there weren't really too many knights on the field, so maybe a bit unbalanced economy or a bit undecided style of gameplay for Elvaenor there, but the cav archers certainly did their work after all. Roughly similar uptimes to these guys. They aren't that far apart in skill. I think there's like 50 elo gap between those two, so well fought by Master Sergeant as well. Thanks for playing in my tournament. And then the villager high for Elvaenor in the end, 69 for Master Sergeant. And the army, or yeah, army tabs here should show some consistent numbers for Elvaenor for this one.